Hello, everybody. You all hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Welcome back. On behalf of the board, the faculty, the staff, the alums, sport organization, community that is NOCCA, welcome back to the 2021 school year. I'm Mr. Kyle Wiedberg. I'm the president and CEO here in NOCCA. And I got to tell you, it has been far too long since I have seen your faces. This is an incredible treat to finally see you again. I see your pictures on the wall of my office, but it is definitely not the same. Speaking of which, that is where I am right now. I'm speaking to you from my office. We're back on campus right now, but when we're back on campus together, we'll be seeing each other in the new normal of the masks. The only reason I don't have one on right now is that I'm alone in my office. Anytime I'm with or around people here on the NOCCA campus, I've got one on, and that will include when we are back on campus together. We may not be back on campus together for a little while. And the reason for that is that keeping you safe and the faculty safe and the staff and the administration safe and everyone associated with NOCCA, including your families and my families, is our top priority. So being apart is hard, but I want everyone associated with NOCCA alive and healthy for this year and for many more years to come. That said, I will tell you that we have thought more and talked more about this year than any in my 14 years here at NOCCA. I want each of you to know that we see you, that we see each and every one of you, that we care about each and every one of you. And this is an important year for you, and we take that very seriously. I also want to reassure you that you're in the exact same place as most of your peers nationally, right? From Baltimore to Orange County, most of your national peers are doing distance learning as well. So you're not behind. You're not doing anything that your friends that you have not yet met from across the country are doing this year and how they're being taught. And in fact, year or two from now, when you're taking classes with them, wherever you end up going after NOCCA, you'll have more in common than you'll have different because of the years that you have shared in distance learning. So even as you are thinking about this year as being a different kind of year, right? Every year at NOCCA is a little bit different. There is no typical NOCCA year, right? This one is just different in new kinds of ways. I want to invoke and bring into this space one of the founders of this school, one of the most important people, the founder of the jazz department, the first chair of the jazz department, who we lost this spring, Mr. Ellis Marcellus. And we had the privilege of having him on campus for Black History Month presentation this last year. But the last time he addressed the campus was 3 years ago at graduation. And 3 years ago at graduation, he gave a speech where he talked about his window, and his window being a little more closed than the rest of ours, and y'all feeling like maybe your windows are wide open, right? You got nothing but time on your hands. And he challenged everyone at the graduation that night, and he asked, how did you use today? And he said, I used today, and I know he did. Mr. Marcellus put his days to great use. So his question to everyone there was, how did you use today? And the idea is that tomorrow is not yet ours. None of us have tomorrow in our hands yet. All we got is today. So how are you going to use today? Because today is yours. Now, for all of you, you're going to be back on this campus at some point. But that can't be the focus of your days while you're not on this campus. Because no matter where you are still attending NOCCA. So I don't want you focused on the things you don't have and what you're missing. I want you focused on what you have. Because you still have talent, you still have opportunity, you still have classmates and faculty to work with. There is no change to your year besides for a little while where it's taken place. So what we want for you hasn't changed. What we desire for you hasn't changed. What we believe this year holds for you hasn't changed. NOCCA is art, right? And art is an idea. And NOCCA and the art is an idea that will be what you make of it. Your year will be what you make of it. You will get out of NOCCA what you put into it and what you demand of yourself. So every year, when I stand and have this conversation with you at the beginning of the year, I remind you, you got 40 weeks, right? May sound like a long time, may not sound like much. Mr. Marcellus would tell you, you got 200 days. That's what this year is going to be made of, right? Some of them will look like this. Some of them may look different. But I cannot wait to see what each of you do with your 40 weeks this year, what you turn them into, what you make of them, what product, what art, what voice, what you bring to this world, what you bring to each other, what you bring forward. I cannot wait to see what the 40 weeks do this year in each of your hands. All right. I cannot wait to see all of you in person. I got to see some of you as you came to pick up materials Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It is fantastic. Yes, even you, Mr. Haywood. It is fantastic. It is fantastic to see. I'm just kidding. You were shaking your head. You caught my attention. It is fantastic to see all of you. Welcome back to the year. It is a different year. There is no doubt about it. And we're not going to pretend it's not, but it is the same opportunity, the same possibility, the same 40 weeks. And I'm excited to see what you do with it. So with that, I believe I am passing it off to the Director of Academic Studio, Dr. Kit Nelson.
Hello, everybody. It is really wonderful to see all of your faces and to welcome you back to the school year. So we're going to start off you can go ahead and go to the next slide, Mr. Kohili. There are some ways that I want you to think about this year that is empowering to you, and also thinking about, what you're doing to grow and learn this year. So, NOCCA is a special space. It is a school. It is an art institution. It's also a place that we grow and learn as a community. And the expectation is that you are always doing your best work. And that means participating fully in classes. That means following NOCCA's rules, but also putting your best foot forward, both in the virtual and the living spaces. And I want you to just think for a moment about the NOCCA DNA as we go into this year. What places are you going to really push yourself to grow? And how is that going to be seen? Is it going to be through your art? Is it going to be through how you interact with others? What is your growing space this year? So let's go to the next slide, Mr. Kohili. So we have learning and classroom expectations. Attendance is expected, right? The places that you learn are with your peers, are with your faculty, are making sure you're taking full advantage of what we have to offer here. It also means that we're going to be watching that because you're earning credits as well, right? So if you're tardy to class, you will be counted late. You'll need a parent or guardian note if you're going to be absent from classes and you need to make up that work time. And a reminder that you won't receive full credit and your grade might be impacted if you missed classes. The other thing is around professionalism. Whether we're in person or virtual, how you dress, how you interact with your peers, staff, and faculty should be in a professional manner. Can you get the next slide, Mr. Kohili? Okay, just some basic online school day expectations. I want you thinking about starting your day ready to learn. And that means mentally ready to learn. That means physically ready to learn, which means you're dressed appropriately for class, that you have your materials with you and ready, that you check in with every class every day. For most classes, this means logging into your Google Classroom throughout the day, and that means every classroom. So for all of the classes that you're enrolled in, you need to be checking your NOCCA email for updates and additional information. And you all know how to get to that link. And if you don't, we're also happy to help. The login information is in the black folder that you received. For many of you, you've done this 1,000 times. Access your course content and assignments. And I think probably the most important bullet point on this whole page is allow yourself enough time to do your best work. So that means planning ahead and giving yourself the time to really do your best. You need to be making sure that you're participating fully in class activities and completing your assignments on time. Make sure that you're doing your own work or following the rules of collaboration if you're doing collaborative work, and that will be instructed by faculty. And finally, and most importantly, contact your faculty if you have questions. If you're struggling, if you don't understand something, please reach out to them. So if you're struggling, we have several places to get help because we want you doing your best work and you to be at your best for all of your classes. And it means really empowering yourself to reach out if you're struggling. You know that your faculty are there to help, but we also have the student support team, and the email for that is studentsupportteam@NOCCA.com. If you're struggling academically, whether you're a half-day or a full-day student, this is a place to go. If you're struggling with socio-emotional needs, if you just need to help like figuring things out, please reach out to this team. We are happy to help. And then of course there's the front desk. Miss Yvette is desperate to say hello to all of you, but that is also a resource for all of you. So the phone number is there and the email. So if you need absolutely anything, that is a starting place, and Miss Yvette can help direct your needs to the right place. So my last little note is I am also here. So if you want to talk through transcripts, if you want help in any way that I can help, I'm happy and I'm here. You can email me, you can also call me. I am also part of the support team. So please reach out if you need anything, and I look forward to a fantastic year with you all. Thank you very much, guys. And then I'd like to introduce a new person to our team. Dr. Laura Cornell is joining us for the year. She's a psychologist, mental health clinician. She's a partner through Children's Bureau, and we are very excited to have her here this year.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Cornell, the new mental health clinician, like Dr. Nelson said. And I just wanted to take a minute to say hi, show you my face, and validate that this is a really strange time and a really weird year for all of us, for you, for me, for everyone in the world right now. And with school starting, there's going to be all these added pressures, new stresses, and I just want to make sure that you remember to take the time to take care of yourselves, which is really important. And Mr. Kohili, could you put on the slide? And there's just some ideas on this slide of things to remember, like to try to maintain a routine if you can, and NOCCA is really helping with that. If you stick to their schedules, stay connected with each other, which I can see you all are very connected in the chat already. Talk to people who you feel comfortable with, and be kind to yourself, most importantly of all. And if you do need support, like Dr. Nelson said, please reach out. And I know that in the past, you may have been able to just stop by and talk to Carrie in her office. And if we were in person, I would love for that to be the same way. And I'm looking forward to when it can be again. But in the virtual space, the rules have to be a little different. So if you find yourself needing some extra support, someone to talk to, please reach out to somebody you trust, teachers, admin, caregivers, and you can also reach out to me directly via my NOCCA email address, and we can work with you and your caregiver to schedule a time to talk on a video conference. I will say that please just use this email to reach out and say hi, or reach out to schedule, which some of you have already done, and not for emergencies, because I won't be checking it on nights and weekends. And I look forward to getting to know y'all in the near future, and have a wonderful first great week, and be kind to yourselves. Enjoy. And oh, and next up we have someone I think you all know and love, Mr. Al Carter.
All right, how's that? A little bit better. That's Haywood. Haywood is keeping me on point, man. You are really you're on point, man. Guys, I'm excited for this upcoming year. I'm looking forward to seeing all you guys. I miss y'all a whole lot. We're gonna talk about some protocol issues. First of all, I want to tell you guys, first of all, you did a great job last year as far as attendance, but you have to go to class. It's so important that you go to class. And show up on time, as Dr. Nelson was said. If you have an issue, for example, something with your internet or computer, notify your teacher on me or the IT folks as soon as possible so we can take care of that. If you do miss class, we're going to have an online greeting sheet, so that way you can go online and make up the time that you did miss. We're going to send a link to that. Also, 3 or more days, as always, parents are going to be notified because we want to make sure that you're there. If you miss too many days, we have to notify child welfare and attendance, and you also may be in danger of not receiving credit. The class environment is the same in virtual as it is when you were here, guys. Appropriate dress is extremely important. Remember, the world can see you. Make sure that your camera is on while you're in class. Wear what you would normally wear to school. So it's very professional. Appropriate communication between students. The world can also hear you. You may want to mute your microphone until you're advised by your teachers to unmute it, but be cautious about sounds and backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. Also, use appropriate icons, images, and sounds. We would prefer you not using teachers or administrators as your icon or your symbol. Use your face. We'd love to see you specifically on the online. Next slide. My mom made me put a show. Oh my goodness. Plagiarism. Guys, you know plagiarism is not acceptable. You may not get credit for that assignment, or you may even get a more serious fine for plagiarizing. The only time you should share work is when it's a teacher authorized group assignment. So don't copy and paste, all that kind of good stuff. Also, take care of your NOCCA issued equipment. You have a laptop, you may have a camera and stuff like that. Be very cautious with it. Don't eat or drink around them, so you don't want to take spills and stuff like that. I'm going to also have office hours. It's probably going to be 3 to 4 like it was when we went into break last time. So if you need me, don't hesitate to let me know. And my email address is online or acarter@NOCCA.com. Let me know if you need me, guys. Looking forward to an awesome, awesome year. Thank you so much. Next we have Misha Kirlov, who's the head of the IT department. Take it away, Misha.
Hello, folks. Happy Apocalypse. Happy Friday. It is great to see all of you. I cannot begin to tell you how much I miss every single last one of you. The summers here are always particularly quiet without you running around bringing energy. This one was particularly on fire as we were working to give out over 500 devices to students, faculty, and staff this summer. So I think I only took a half a day worth of crying, but beyond that, we're great. Mr. Healy, if you could show the first slide, please. So the first big news in the NOCCA IT world is that we have a new team member. You all may remember Miss Ashley Rose from the front desk. She now is working here in the IT office, helping to make sure that everything is working properly and nobody is being forgotten. If you have any issues at all, you may notice that little subliminal message down at the bottom that says support@NOCCA.com. That is the best way to reach us, so that way you get a ticket made and things are automatically handled and nothing is forgotten. If your parents need some issues, they can also email that too, although we prefer that all issues come directly from you to make things easier and sensical. Could I have the next slide, please? This is the acceptable use policy, which you all have read and signed and agreed to. It is in the thing that you went through in your registration and agreed to, and there's a copy of it online on NOCCA.com. I know all of you just click yes, I agree, like you do on everything that you click and install on your phone. But please, this time for real, after this chat is over, go to NOCCA.com, click on Parent and Student Resources, read the acceptable use policy, and just soak it in. There are 3 things that I want you to think about right now for if you forget. The first thing is to be civil. It's really important that you do not lie, you do not cheat, you do not steal, you present yourself in a professional manner. The second thing is about not goofing off when you should be working. I know everybody's like, oh, I haven't seen everybody. I miss you all. I'm going to wear a crazy hat. Don't. Just goof off when it's time to goof off and work when it's time to work. I know as artists, as humans, goofing off is a vital and important part of life and sanity. That is also an acceptable use policy about not disrupting instruction. The last thing on the slide is that I promise to read the whole thing after this later today. Just out loud to yourself, say, I promise to read the whole acceptable use policy later today, so that way you're not lying to yourself. You may also notice the extra subliminal message on this slide that says support@NOCCA.com, which is all of your technological support needs. Next slide, Mr. Kohili, please. In case you've forgotten, support@NOCCA.com is the best way to get any of your tech needs solved. As you may or may not know, we're living in a global pandemic and we all have to do distance learning, and that is all enabled by technology. Chances are good that you're using a piece of technology that me and Ms. Ashley Rose touched and shuffled over the course of the summer. If it has any issues, email us and we'll be happy to help. Just remember, there are only 2 of us and there are about 700 of y'all, so deep breath, be patient. We are all doing as best as we can with the situation that we are in. I miss you all very much. Next up is our favorite DJ of the hour, Mr. Blake Kohili.
Thank you, Misha. Thanks for the nod for the DJ. For those that don't know, that opening Prelude music that we were listening to was Miss Sasha Masakowski, who was a musical theater alum here in 2004. Now has several albums out. You should check them out. Just real quick, I want to go over just a couple things about the front desk. If you need a work permit or you need Office of Motor Vehicles letter, we can do all of that. If you need to change your address or your phone number so that we can reach you for Power School or for these evacuation alerts that are getting ready to go out with the possible storms coming up, or if you want to turn in some documentation about your attendance or any medical forms, you can do that at frontdesk@NOCCA.com. Also, Mr. Matt asked me to talk about the library. He's going to send out a quick email to everyone that has the catalog of all of the resources on NOCCA. You can email him directly at matthasselbrock@NOCCA.com. He'll make sure that you get the information and the materials that you need. All right, so no further questions about the front desk. We're here to help you. We want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to be successful. So I'm going to now pass it off to Ms. Laura Naughton. Laura is our new college counselor. So please welcome Ms. Laura Naughton.
Hi, everyone. So wonderful to see you and to meet you. Can we do a double check and make sure that all your mics are off? Thank you so much. So I'm coming to you from my house in Lacombe. I live out in the country with my dog Zola. And Blake, if we can see the slide. So I put a little picture of her in the corner. She's a boxer pit mix. And when I'm having a video session with any of you, you will likely see her. She likes to pop in. from time to time. So you can read these guiding principles of college counseling as I'm talking, but I just really want to highlight the first one, which is that artists and intellectuals are vitally important in the world. And this is because they move culture and society forward. But let me be clear, really, when I say they, I'm talking about you. Because you are already vitally and, a vital and necessary force in the world. Your voice really matters. And so does your imagination, so does your innovation, so does your determination. And if you're already thinking about college and life after NOCCA, that's great. But honestly, the most important thing that you can do right now is to be deeply engaged in what is meaningful to you. And that means diving into your arts and to your academics. And just because you're at home doesn't mean that you can't also be involved in the world, right? It just means you're going to maybe do it from your room. And so I really believe that if there's anyone who can figure out how to find creative ways to collaborate virtually, or start a business from home, or be an activist for social change, or evolve how dance or theater or writing will look, that it's the artist, it's you. So you're going to hear more from me in the coming weeks and months about specific things that you can do to start your college process. And you are always welcome to set up a time to talk with me individually. I would love that. But in the meantime, I think Miles Davis gives us some really great words of advice when he says that I'm always thinking about creating. My future starts when I wake up every morning. Every day, I find something creative to do with my life. And so I think that's a great way to walk into this year. And I'm going to now introduce, or reintroduce, because you know him and love him, Mr. Silas Cooper, who's the Director of Arts for all of NOCCA, and he's also on faculty here. And he's a really huge advocate of you and the arts. Mr. Cooper?
Thank you, Ms. Naughton. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Silas Cooper, and in addition to being Director of Arts, I also teach acting and voice, and I've been a working artist for the past 35 years. So I'd just like to share some insights that I've gained over the years that I think will be useful to you this year during your training, and hopefully in the years to come as you go out into the world and continue to train or begin to work professionally. You know, one of the things that excites me the most about being at NOCCA is that it's an entire community of artists with different levels of experience, but we're all there because we're passionate about at least one art form, and we're all interested in continuing to develop and to grow. And I think that there are some useful bits of advice that I can give you that might be of service. Typically, every year, students will ask me about specific schools of where they should pursue the next step in their training. And my answer always is, it's not where you go, it's what you make of it. And that has held true in my professional life as well. In several jobs, the trappings were different in each and every one, but it's what we made of it as a group when within that experience that made it worthwhile. So I'd like to tweak that statement a bit for this year for us, and to say, it's not where we are, it's what we make of it. And my hope is that what we make of this year is the most meaningful and memorable year in our lives as artists as we possibly can. I hope that it's a year in which we challenge ourselves and those around us, that we're inspired by our challenging circumstances and what we can learn and grow that we had no idea about before. A year in which we do the work as we understand it. And by that I mean the person you are today and the point you are in this work right now is far different than where you were last March, and not quite where you'll be at the end of this year. So do your best to work as you understand it each day, and we won't be afraid to pivot and alter as we learn during the year together. Try your best to be right here, right now. Work in the present. Don't spend so much time dwelling on what happened in the past. Don't spend a lot of time stressing about what the future might hold. But as artists, it's always the goal to be right here, right now, to be in this moment, and to get everything that we possibly can out of it. So let's not be in 2021-22. Let's not be in 2019-20. Let's be in 2021, right here, right now, throughout the year. Let's see if we can't make it a year in which no one is treated like a jerk. Each person is respected as an individual and as an artist, and that each person feels safe enough to take chances in their art, to fail and understand those around them celebrate the risks that they take. A year in which we celebrate each other's growth as much as we do our own. Remember, it's never about you. It's always about the other person. It's always about the story. It's always about the other artist. Keep that in mind. Stay curious. Finally, I want to give you 3 things that I hope that you will bring to your training every day. And if you, some of you may have heard me say this before, but I try to challenge myself with it every day. If you can come to the training each day with an open mind, a brave heart, and a willing spirit, you'll be amazed at the amount of growth that we can achieve. Open-minded enough to understand that we're going to try training in a different way this year, something we haven't done much of in the past. Open-minded enough that you're going to be introduced to new technique, new faculty, new friends, and that maybe they have bringing a different point of view than what you have, and that's only going to be better for our art together. A brave heart, brave enough to be vulnerable, brave enough to take risks, brave enough to solicit, to ask for criticism and to be in critique and be willing to take it, brave enough to be in hard conversations, brave enough to own mistakes, brave enough to try to be better, brave enough to speak up when you see something that's not right. And finally, a willing spirit. And by that I mean, if you're willing in your work, if you're willing in your training, the joy that you bring is contagious and will bring it to all around you. And if we all bring that together, my goodness, what a year we can have. I can't wait to get started. If I haven't met you yet, please feel free to reach out. If I can offer you any help or assistance or share some things I've learned from mistakes I've made over the years, I'm happy to. My email is scooper@NOCCA.com. Have a great weekend, and we'll get started on Monday.
Thanks, Mr. Cooper. Just real quick reminder for everyone, Academic Studio starts Monday at 8 o'clock. First level, first arts block is at 1:15. Second arts block is at 4 o'clock. Again, if you have any questions, we're going to send out links to this presentation. If you have needs right now, please email the front desk at NOCCA.com and we'll take care of you. We want you to have everything you need to be successful for this year. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't wait.
Miss you all.
Thank you.
Right.
See you later.
Later. All right, peace out, y'all.
Thanks.
Bye.
I did.
Goodbye.
Thanks.
Whoa, I'm bald.
See you Monday.
Hey. Y'all later. Peace out.
Oh. Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
All right. Yeah, have a good one.
Bye, Oscar.
That went pretty well.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can stop recording, Blake.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.